Pisces, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of September. So before I jump into the energy, this is going to be most applicable for your rising sign. Your rising sign is how other people perceive you. It's still applicable for your sun sign, which is how you express yourself, and your moon sign, which is how you process everything internally through that emotional lens. This month, there's a lot happening this month. I am going to touch on it a little bit more for you than I would or that I did in the other videos. This is the month of transformation, no doubt about it. But then we also have the first of the Pisces Virgo eclipse season. So this one's going to be pretty significant for you because this is going to impact your first house and your seventh house. So this is going to impact you, your physical person, and your significant other. So I just wanted to highlight that there. What I'm also seeing pretty common throughout the month is not only is there a lot of transformation, but we do get to a point here in the month where we start to kind of see the dust settle a little bit. We can see some challenges to any kind of growth right now, but it's because so many things are changing that it's really hard to grow until you put your feet back on the ground and really stabilize everything. So wanted to call that out. It does get better by the end of the month. But starting right here on the 1st, we have Uranus station retrograde in the sign of Taurus. So that's going to happen at 11:18 in the morning Eastern time. Uranus is one of those transformation planets. There's two, and they both have a pretty significant transit happening here on the 1st. And so Uranus is that sudden internal change because it is a retrograde. In the sign of Taurus, though, this is about being practical and grounded and getting rid of all those things that you just don't value in your life. For you, Taurus rules your 3rd house, so communication, short distance travel. And so there might be some sort of sudden change to the way that you're communicating. I'm getting the sense of like a breakthrough where maybe in the past you've had a really hard time expressing exactly what it is that you want or what you value. That's going to change. There would be some sort of change. It would be an internal change. So when Uranus stations retrograde in Taurus, it will trine Venus in Libra. Venus in Libra for you. So this is impacting your 8th house. 8th house is transformation. Like I said, lots of transformation this month. So Venus in Libra. So Venus is Venus rules both Taurus and Libra here. And so there's a lot of balancing, focusing here on what you value. How do we kind of navigate this whole thing? And so this transit here is actually going to be really positive for you just because this is an easy flow of energy. There's nothing you need to do in order to kind of stay grounded and focused on what you want. Uranus retrograde will trine Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so this is the other planet of transformation. And so for right now, it's still sitting in the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius for you is your 12th house. It's your inner self here. And so whatever is taking place as it relates to the way that you communicate, that kind of sudden realization or breakthrough, removing of whatever obstacles prevented you from communicating the way that you want here, it's going to easily blend with whatever internal changes are taking place to you. Uranus retrograde in Taurus will also sextile Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so these sudden internal changes to your communication, it's creating some sort of opportunity for you to become the person that you want to be. This is really a breakthrough for you. And I would say out of all 12 signs, you're going to fare this one way better than most, just because the way that this is impacting you, this is actually going to help you grow and expand. It might feel uncomfortable in the moment because these are sudden changes that are taking place. But this one's positive. It's creating an opportunity. And so this was something that you're really going to have to work on. I say that, but it's really an opportunity there to be seized. It's going to be a positive influence here. Uranus retrograde in Taurus will square the moon in Leo. The moon in Leo for you is sitting in your 6th house. This is your daily life. Think about the things that you do on a regular basis and how do you feel about all of that. And so these sudden internal changes could be connected to not just the way that you communicate with other people, but the way that you think about things, the way that you process all that information, because that's also 3rd house energy. And so it's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to how you feel about your daily life. And so again, you're dealing with a lot of change here. And so you're now looking at this completely different than what you would have before. It's an obstacle or a challenge. I mean, it's not a really significant one. You could overcome this. You just have to work through it. We also have Uranus retrograde square Mercury in Leo. And so it's not just how you feel about your daily life, it's maybe conversations that you have in your daily life, understanding, because on both sides of this is communication. It is understanding everything intellectually. And so whatever changes are taking place, you're now looking and maybe just talking to people differently. And then also on the 1st, we have Pluto re-enter the sign of Capricorn. So this one is going to happen at 8:08 p.m. Eastern time. This one's significant. This is actually about closing out a chapter. We had Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. It transitioned into Aquarius. It kind of has been back and forth a little bit here. This is actually the last time it's going to be in the sign of Capricorn during any of our lifetimes. It's going to take roughly 250 years to get back to this place here. And so it's going to be in Capricorn until November 19th when it re-enters the sign of Aquarius. So right now for you, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn is sitting in your 11th house. Your 11th house, you think of your friends, your community. None of this energy is going to be new, but what you're doing right now is really giving kind of one last pass at the way it structures, its limitations, restrictions. It's maybe old ways of thinking, old ways of kind of conducting those friendships. There's something about that you're reconsidering. There's some sort of change here that you're really thinking about, making some sort of adjustment to so that you can move forward. When Pluto re-enters Capricorn, it's actually going to trine Venus in Libra. And so whatever internal reconsideration of you're doing of your friendships, those just relationships that you have holistically, not the individual ones, but holistically, it's easily going to flow with whatever other transformation is taking place. And so thinking about what's happening here from your communication style, whatever is taking place easily flows with this. So it just feels like you're really being aided in transforming your friends and the way you interact with your friends. Pluto retrograde will trine Uranus. Oh, I just said that. No, I didn't. Sorry, I said Venus in Libra. Uranus retrograde in Taurus. Because it's the same thing. I mean, we're seeing a lot of the same energy. The difference here is Pluto was in Aquarius earlier in the day. Now it's in Capricorn, so it's got a little bit of a different spin to it. This one's also really positive. This is connected to conversations you might be having with your friends, that sudden internal change in the way that you communicate, that like realization of this is the way that I actually mean to say what I'm saying. I can speak a little bit more freely, a little bit more open, more direct. Whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish in your communication easily flows with whatever changes that you want to happen within your friends, your group of friends. We also have Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, sextile Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so these changes that are happening in your friendships, it's going to create some sort of opportunity here for you to be who you want to be. That Neptune and Pisces energy is literally your physical self. And so all of this is really working out pretty well for you. Pluto retrograde in Capricorn will square Chiron in Aries. And so Chiron retrograde in Aries, this is a wound that has come to the surface. It's not going to be new. You've probably been dealing with this over the last several months. It is connected to what you value, your personal finances. This would be the money that you already have. And so when you think about your friendships and what needs to change within those relationships, it's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge here to healing that wound connected to your own maybe financial stability, something along those lines. It's a square. You can work with the energy, but it is there. And so that's all on the 1st. That's a lot of transformation, and that's just one day. And so then we go into the new moon in the sign of Virgo. That's going to happen on the 2nd at 9:55 p.m. Eastern time. The sun and moon, they're at the same degree point in the sky, which just means overlapping energies. So this is a lot of expressing how you feel. Virgo energy is very analytical, can sometimes be critical. It's your opposite sign. And so this could be connected to those significant other type of relationships. So married, if you're married, if you live with somebody, that partner, somebody here that's really significant in your life. But what could be happening here too, because it is Virgo energy, there could be some sort of healing component to this entire kind of conversation and the way that you're expressing yourself. During this new moon, the sun and moon will square Jupiter and Gemini. And so Jupiter and Gemini for you is in your 4th house of home. And so it could be whatever kind of conversations are taking place, the way that you're expressing yourself with your significant other. It's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to any kind of growth that you're looking for in your home environment. Now it is Jupiter, but Jupiter's in Gemini. And so Jupiter is actually at its weakest point right now in the sign of Gemini. And so it's not going to be as strong. The energy is definitely going to be weaker. It's in a square, so that's going to weaken it as well. But it's still a positive energy. It's still the most benefic planet. And so even though it might be a little bit more difficult to work with than normal, because normally it's not at all, you will have to put some effort into this one, but you can. If you want to grow and expand something connected to your house, you can certainly do that. So moving on. So sun and moon will be opposite Saturn retrograde in Pisces. And so maybe the way that you're communicating with your significant other here, it is going to be opposite any kind of internal work you're doing on yourself, to like your physical self here. And so just know that it's more of maybe healing conversations there, not so focused on myself right now. I'm really more worried about that relationship. And so it's an energy you can work with. You can find that blend. And then we have Mars enter the sign of Cancer. And so Mars is the planet of action. Cancer is a very emotional sign. In fact, it's the most emotional. So it's that deep emotional feeling energy. And so that's going to happen on the 4th at 3:46 in the afternoon Eastern time. So when this happens, Mars in Cancer will sextile Mercury in Leo. And so you might be acting out your feelings, or maybe even using art as some sort of medium, because for you, Cancer rules your 5th house. 5th house is your passions, your hobbies, things that you enjoy doing outside of work for fun. And so you might be acting out your feelings, maybe taking some sort of action related to children. How do you feel about children? It is sextile Mercury and Leo. You might be having conversations here. I want to maybe have a baby, or, adopt a child, or something along those lines. Or it could be, let's say that you're very passionate about art. This could be that you're taking some sort of action connected to your art hobby or passion, and it's creating an opportunity for you to maybe step out in your daily life and have these really bold conversations. There's something here where it's really fueling conversations in your daily life. Mars in Cancer will square Moon in Libra. And so for you, the Moon in Libra is in your 8th house of transformation. It's also going to square Venus in Libra. So how you feel about the transformation, so the changes that are taking place, feeling grounded and practical. The actions that you're taking right now, that those kind of emotionally charged actions connected to your passions, children, things like that, maybe short-term relationships, it is creating obstacles or challenges here to maybe additional transformation or other types of transformation that are taking place. It could also be connected to money. 8th house is also about the money that you earn from an employer. It could be your spouse's income. It could be the debt that you have, or any kind of inheritance here. So there's a lot that's kind of embodied in that 8th house. But since there's so much transformation taking place, it might just be that whatever action you're taking right now is just not focused on any kind of balancing this transformation, or finding a way to balance that transformation, because it is Libra and it is your 8th house. And then we have Mars in Cancer square Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so these kind of emotionally charged actions that you're taking are creating obstacles or challenges to you maybe stepping into the person that you want to be, these goals that you've set for yourself. It's going to get easier. And so we can see that happen here just a few days later when Mercury enters the sign of Virgo. So that's going to happen on the 9th at 2:50 in the morning Eastern time. And so when this happens, Mercury rules Virgo. And so this is the deep thinker for sure. Also about communication, healing aspect to the communications here. And that's all sitting in your 7th house. So your significant other, your marriage partner, could be contracts too, just putting that out there, just because we are talking about discussions. So there might be conversations connected to contracts. And so whatever's happening here, these conversations that are taking place with your significant other, it's going to trine Chiron retrograde in Aries. So these conversations are actually going to help you heal that wound connected to financial stability or security. Mercury in Virgo will sextile Mars in Cancer. And so these maybe grounded, healing types of conversations with your significant other, it's actually going to create an opportunity for you to take more action, more passionate type of action connected to maybe children, your passions, your hobbies, things like that. Mercury in Virgo will square Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so these conversations that you're having with your significant other, these kind of healing conversations, really kind of maybe getting into the details of it, it's going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge to these changes that are taking place in your communication style. And it could be more of maybe it's not communication, maybe it's just the way that you're thinking about things that's changing. And so all this really is, where your focus is right now is more on your significant other in that relationship as opposed to things outside of that. It's a square. You can work through the energy. You just have to put the effort in. And then we have Mercury in Virgo square Moon in Scorpio. And so the Moon in Scorpio is sitting in your 9th house of expansion. Scorpio is the zodiac sign of death and rebirth, so it is transformation. And so these conversations that you're having with your significant other, it is creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to how you feel about any kind of growth here. Scorpio being the sign of transformation, sitting in the house of growth. And so there might be things that are happening here because your transformation does seem to be more growth oriented than the other signs. And so here, what I'm getting is just balancing the two. You can find a way to work with the energy. You can find a way to overcome these challenges. They don't feel that significant. And then that eclipse. So like I said at the beginning of the video, on the 17th at 10:34 p.m., we have the full moon in your sign, and this is going to be a partial lunar eclipse. And so this is going to be kind of a precursor, kind of our first taste on how this whole eclipse season is going to be. So you, Pisces, the North Node will be in your sign. It'll be in the South Node in the Virgo energy. And so what this looks like here is Sun in Virgo in your 7th house. We've got Moon in Pisces in your 1st house. During this eclipse season, the emphasis is going to be on action you need to take for yourself. You're going to feel comfortable taking something as it relates to your significant other, as it relates to that relationship. That's kind of your default comfort zone type of feeling versus I need to do something here for myself. So just kind of keep that in mind during this entire eclipse season. The emphasis here is going to be on me versus we. And just to kind of give a little bit more context, because this is a full moon, we have the Sun in Virgo, so these would be conversations that you're having with your significant other. They're going to be opposite about how you feel about yourself, the type of person that you want to be. And so just kind of keep that in mind. It is going to be this push-pull energy between the me versus we. The Sun in Virgo will trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so the Sun, these conversations that you're having with your significant other, easily blend with the changing communication style that you're experiencing. Total blend, nothing you need to do. The Moon in Pisces will sextile Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So how you feel about yourself is going to create an opportunity for maybe even more changes in the way that you communicate or the way that you see things and really process everything internally. We'll also have the Sun in Virgo trine Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And so the way that you're expressing yourself with your significant other, it's going to easily blend with the changes that are taking place in your friends, in that group of friends that you have, your community around you. We have the Moon in Pisces sextile Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. So how you feel about yourself creates some sort of opportunity for you to maybe make some changes in those friendships, the way that you interact with those friendships. So you can kind of see how like this full moon in your sign is actually really, really positive. And I was seeing that pretty much across the board. The Sun and Moon are actually going to be in a T-square during this full moon partial eclipse. And so what this means is the way that you're expressing yourself with your significant other, the way that you feel about yourself, they're both going to create some sort of obstacle or challenge here to this Jupiter and Gemini energy sitting in your house of home. And so what this means is maybe now's not the right time to grow and expand anything connected to your home. It is Jupiter energy, so it is the most benefic planet. Even though it's at its weakest point, you can still work with the energy. It just may not grow to the extent that you're looking for. And so just kind of keep that in mind. And then we have the Sun in Virgo opposite Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so the way that you're expressing yourself with your significant other it's going to be contrary to how you feel about yourself, the type of person that you want to become, these goals and dreams that you have for just who you want to be holistically. The moon in Pisces will be conjunct that energy. So how you feel about yourself fully aligns with the person that you want to be. And then on the 22nd, we have the sun enter the sign of Libra. So that's going to happen at 8:44 in the morning Eastern time. And so when the sun enters the sign of Libra, this is all about balanced communication. The way that you're expressing yourself is very balanced. It's sitting in your 8th house. So this is transformation. So this is really good because this is really balancing out all that transformation that's taking place. The way that you're expressing yourself just fully aligns with whatever changes have been happening here. You might even be having conversations as it relates to money, just because it is that 8th house energy. It's the money that's coming in from an outside source. When the sun enters Libra, it will trine the moon in Gemini. So I'm gonna say this because it's going to trine the moon in Gemini, but it's actually going to square Jupiter and Gemini, and just because of where they fall. And so this balanced self-expression that's happening here is going to fully align with how you feel about your home environment. So think of it as the way it exists now without any growth or expansion. The challenges happen when you try to grow and expand. And so it's like, I feel good about it right now. Do I even need to grow and expand? Because it is going to be that square energy. The sun in Libra will trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So the way that you're expressing yourself, that very balanced self-expression, it's easily going to flow with whatever changes are taking place in your communication style or just your perception of things, the way that you think about things. The sun in Libra will trine Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And so again, balanced self-expression here, just this entire transformation and kind of leveling it all out, does easily flow with whatever changes you want to happen within your group of friends. And then we have the sun in Libra conjunct Mercury in Virgo. And so the way that you're expressing yourself, kind of navigating this whole transformation, finding that balance here, it's going to easily blend with whatever conversations you're having with your significant other. And then we have the sun in Libra will be opposite Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so the way that you're expressing yourself right now and really kind of balancing out this transformation, it is contrary to who you want to be, these goals that you've set for yourself. Because that is, Neptune is sitting in your 1st house of your physical self. And then also on the same day, a lot happens, but it seems to be happening in like chunks together. And so this month is one of those where it happens that way. And so also on the 22nd at 10:36 in the evening, Eastern time, we have Venus enter the sign of Scorpio. And so Scorpio is the zodiac sign of transformation. It is sitting in your 9th house. So this is transformation relative to your growth. When Venus enters Scorpio, Venus likes to bring things together. It's harmony, it's balance, it's focus on what you value. Scorpio, of course, being that death and rebirth type of energy, but Scorpio is very passionate and very loyal. And so when you put Venus in Scorpio, you're getting a lot of passion and how do we make this happen? And let's focus on what we value and really kind of grow and expand that. And it's sitting in your 9th house of growth and expansion. What is it that you're trying to achieve here? What is it that you're loyal to? Could it be loyal to maybe going after your own education? Are you very passionate about pursuing some sort of higher education? Maybe long distance travel is at play here. So when Venus enters the sign of Scorpio, it's actually going to trine Jupiter and Gemini. So any kind of growth that you're looking for in your home environment fully aligns with whatever growth and expansion you're looking for yourself. This Venus and Scorpio energy will square Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And so really what I'm getting out of this transit here is you're going to feel very passionate about pursuing some sort of growth opportunity, really going after something here that you want to do, whether it's higher education, long distance travel, learning another language, expanding your mind in some sort of way through some sort of experience out in the world. It's going to create challenges to any kind of changes you want to happen within your group of friends. And it's more of, right now, it's a focus on me versus focused on the collective. And so you can find the happy medium here. You can work with this energy. It's a square energy, so it is possible. And then we have Mercury enter the sign of Libra. So that's going to happen on the 26th at 4:09 in the morning Eastern time. So this is really more of that Sun in Libra, Mercury in Libra, very similar type of energy. In fact, when Mercury enters the sign of Libra, it's going to be conjunct the sun. So this is a lot of balanced self-expression, conversation, the way that you're thinking about things. It is going to be very balanced here. So all of that transformation, it's kind of settling down now by the end of the month. And this is sitting in your 8th house of transformation. So it's really about finding that balance, understanding the impact of all the changes that have been taking place throughout the month. When Mercury enters Libra, it will trine Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And so these balanced conversations that you might be having with other people, it's easily going to flow with the way that you want to communicate here, because Uranus retrograde in Taurus is removing any kind of blocks or barriers to some sort of grounded conversation, maybe focused on what you value. The way that you're communicating really fully aligns with what you want here. And so this is where everything kind of starts to really settle down. We also have Mercury in Libra trine Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. And so when it comes to your friends, these balanced conversations that you're having, the way that you're thinking about everything that's transpired over the last month, all of this transformation, all of these kind of blocks and barriers that have been removed from your life, fully align with whatever changes you want to happen within your circle of friends. And then we do have Mercury in Libra square Jupiter in Gemini. And so again, it's more of, let's focus on that equilibrium energy, that Libra, let's keep things balanced before we try and grow and expand anything in our home environment. And then finally, we have Mercury in Libra opposite Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And that's not a surprise because we saw this with the sun. And so any kind of conversations that you're having right now that are very balanced, focused on your transformation, they are opposite this Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So who you want to be, who do you want to become? And it's more of the energy right now is just very focused on navigating this transformation versus working on something connected to any kind of goals you have for your physical person. So I would say out of all the signs, yours is probably the best for the month of September. So Pisces, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.